Most people remember Santonio Holmes' catch. What they don't remember is how close it came to never mattering. Let's set the stage. February 1st, 2009, Tampa, Florida, the biggest stage in sports. On one sideline, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, the standard of the NFL at the time. 5 Super Bowl championships, a legacy built on defense, toughness, and never blinking first. You got Terry Bradshaw and the Steel Curtain in the 70s, the Immaculate Reception, Swan's TD, ballet tiptoe down the sideline. Irby, remember that one?
A storied franchise of the NFL. They were supposed to be there.
Exactly. On the other sideline, the Arizona Cardinals, a franchise older than the NFL itself, and yet they were still searching for relevance. I didn't realize how bad this was until I was researching for this episode, but had never won a Super Bowl, at least in Arizona. They were rarely even close. Their last Super Bowl appearance, quote unquote, was in 1948 when they were still known as the Chicago Cardinals. Yeah, I'm talking way back. Hadn't made the playoffs since 1998. Shit, let me fix that. They hadn't even finished with a winning record since 1998 prior to this Super Bowl run.
See, and I think that's what people forget about. They just thought this was the 2 best teams in the NFL. No, this is a team that this is a rags to riches kind of tale.
It was. But not just that. On one side, the Steelers, they entered that season carrying the weight on their shoulders. They were just a couple years removed from a previous championship. So Big Ben already had his 1 ring, but it wasn't really his. And the reason I say that is because the defense carried him. I didn't realize, because I must have been so young when that game occurred, Big Ben finished that game 9 for 21 for 123 yards, 2 interceptions, and a passer rating of 22.3.
Ugh.
You know how bad that is?
Terrible.
That is the 3rd worst rating in Super Bowl history. And you want to know the combined record of the dudes that are top 2?
How many?
0-2. You want to know how badly they lost those 2 games?
Please tell me.
89-17.
Oh.
Yet here Big Ben is with the 3rd worst passer rating, and his team won.
So it's a prove-it year for Ben in this game.
Especially considering he had just signed a big contract extension before the season started. All the eyes were on him. Really needs to be focused on here is the defense, because let's not forget how terrifying they were. They allowed just under 14 points per game over the course of the entire season.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were that good. This was also the season that James Harrison was Defensive Player of the Year, played like a force of nature. He raked up 16 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, and an interception. Oh yeah, by the way, they also still had Troy Polamalu just wreaking havoc. He had 7 interceptions. It was also a first-team All-Pro during this season.
We're talking about Troy Polamalu in the prime of prime. I mean, we're talking head and shoulders commercial Troy Polamalu.
Like jumping over the center, tackling the quarterback, running back, whoever it was.
What we absolutely think of when we think Troy, it was this season.
The Cardinals, on the other hand, had no such expectations. They quickly put the league on notice by winning 7 of their first 10 games. But then, Herb, you know what they do? Immediately afterwards, lose 4 of their last 6. And included in one of those losses was a brutal 47-7 loss to the Patriots in Week 16.
Yeah, getting cold at the wrong time, huh?
This led many around the league to write the team off as they hobbled into the playoffs. However, they had a fella by the name of Kurt Warner, and he'd already been written off twice, once by the league and once by time. Warner replaced an injured Matt Leinart early in the previous season and began this 2008 season as the undisputed starter. Despite the lack of expectations, Warner rewarded that faith, posting one of his best seasons in 2008 by throwing for 4,583 yards, 30 touchdowns, and an NFC best 96.9 passer rating.
And then January hit.
And boy, did it ever. The completely new Cardinals team arrived at this point. They entered the playoffs as a number 4 seed, and they won 3 games in a row to advance to the Super Bowl. So, in that span of 3 weeks, they won more playoff games than they had in their entire franchise history previously.
And probably as many as they've won since.
I'm pretty positive it's more still. But this is in large part due to the performances of Warner and a man who just recently was inducted into the Hall of Fame, Larry Fitzgerald. You know what Larry did during those 3 games, Herb?
Something incredible. Tell me about it.
23 catches, a postseason record, 419 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
In 3 games? People wonder why Larry got the gold jacket. Take a peek at that 3-game run.
One of the greatest ever. He had touchdowns in every round. Defensive coordinators knew where the ball was going. Still couldn't stop it. So Arizona didn't just show up to the Super Bowl. They believed that they belonged. So that takes us to the actual game, right? And this game felt like it was going to be a blowout from the start. Big Ben comes out, completes 7 of his first 8 passes for 122 yards on the Steelers' first 2 offensive drives, taking an early 10-0 lead.
Yeah, I remember watching that game and thinking it was over early. I was young, don't get me wrong, I was a child, but felt like it was over early. I remember writing the Cardinals off.
Yep, but then the Cardinals respond, thankfully, with a 9-play, 83-yard scoring drive, ending with a 1-yard touchdown pass from Warner to tight end Ben Patrick. By the way, only touchdown that he scored all season.
There's no time like the present Mr. Patrick.
Then the teams exchange a pair of punts. Big Ben then throws a pass that was deflected by defensive tackle Brian Robinson and intercepted by, you'll remember this name, Carlos Dansby.
Bag pull. Deep bag pull.
And this was just before the 2-minute warning. 7 plays later, the Cardinals reached the Steelers' 1-yard line with a chance to take the lead before halftime. But with 18 seconds left, Warner's pass that was intended for Anquan Boldin was intercepted at the goal line. And Herb, you know what happens next?
I mean, get your popcorn ready. Oh, what a moment in NFL.
James Harrison. He takes that. He's rumbling. He's bumbling down the sideline.
Stumbling, baby.
For what turned out to be, at the time, the longest touchdown in Super Bowl history. 100-yard pick six, which increased the Steelers' lead.
And what you might not remember about that moment is there was a big old pause in the middle of it, or at the end of it, as we're going into the half, and nobody knew because there was a moment where they thought he stepped out of bounds. I'd never seen a replay go that close to a sideline before. The whole thing felt like a knockout punch. That took the air out of the building.
You would have thought it would have been. They had controlled the game, controlled the moment, but as we know, controlling the Super Bowl and finishing one, 2 very different things. The second half didn't follow the script. After forcing the Cardinals to punt or to start the second half, the Steelers put together another long scoring drive, moving the ball 79 yards in 15 plays and taking a whopping 8 minutes and 39 seconds off the clock. However, despite picking up 2 first downs inside the Cardinals' 10-yard line, they were unable to find pay dirt, never a good sign, forced them to settle for a field goal. Then the teams proceeded to trade punts going into the fourth quarter, and then Warner led the Cardinals down the field on an 8-play, 87-yard drive, ending in a 1-yard touchdown to, you want to take a guess?
Who else? Larry Fitz.
Yes, sir. Which cut the Cardinals' deficit to 1 possession.
You could feel it watching it. You knew that something incredible was about to happen. The tension in the room was crazy.
And Arizona felt that too. Once again, they exchanged punts. The Cardinals had an opportunity to kick a long field goal, so they decided to punt it. I forget who the punter is. He pins them at the 1-yard line.
It's what you paid him to do.
No gain on their first 2 plays. So it's 3rd down. They're still at the 1-yard line. Big Ben drops back in the pocket, and boom, 19-yard pass completion to Santonio Holmes. But don't look now, flag in the end zone for offensive holding. And Herb, you know what happens when you hold in the end zone?
It's a safety.
So now it is Steelers 2016. 2 minutes and 58 seconds left. The Cardinals take over at their own 36-yard line. And then it happened. Mid-4th quarter, 2 minutes left. Fitzgerald catches a short pass.
There it is.
Splits the defense. The rest is history. Cardinals take their first lead of the game, 23-20.
The entire stadium flipped. The place went absolutely nuts. I remember Larry just squeaking out of that seam. There he goes. The whole place went nuts.
So now Arizona leads, like I said, 23-20. Less than 3 minutes left. A franchise that had never been there before suddenly inches from everything. So Steelers ball on their own 22-yard line after the ensuing kickoff. There's 2 minutes and 37 seconds remaining. And this is where Super Bowls live or die. There's no margin, no excuses. First play, a holding penalty, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Why not? We just gave up 2 free points. Why not give up another 5 yards?
So now the Steelers have the ball at the 12-yard line. And this is when the magic starts. Big Ben completes a pass to Santonio Holmes. You'll hear that name quite a bit on this final drive for 14 yards. That takes us to the 2-minute warning. Coming out of the 2-minute warning, Big Ben drops back, incompletion. Next play, completes a pass to Santonio Holmes, again, 13 yards. Followed that up with a 11-yard completion to Nate Washington, and then a 4-yard scramble by Big Ben, which forces the Steelers to burn their second timeout of the half with just over a minute remaining in the game. So after the timeout, on the very next play, Roethlisberger completes a pass once again to Santonio Holmes, who then took that pass 40 yards to the Cardinals' 6-yard line. Pittsburgh has to take their final timeout.
Call it, coach. But I tell you what, I remember watching it too. Big Ben, calculated, calm, damn near surgical. Guess what? It was Santonio.
That takes us to 6-yard line. 49 seconds left. Roethlisberger, he drops back. He looks into the flat. Mewelde Moore, covered. Looks at Hines Ward in the end zone. Big Ben throws it to the back of the end zone. Honestly, when I was watching that play, it seemed like he was just trying to throw the ball away.
Probably was.
Instead of throwing the ball away like I'm sure almost everyone thought, Santonio Holmes had ran a flag route to the right corner of the end zone. He jumps for the ball, elevates, he secures it, comes down, pinning it against his helmet. And that might not even have been the hardest part.
The toes.
Both toes drag inside the paint. If it's 6 inches the other way, incomplete. Arizona wins this game. Instead, Pittsburgh takes a 27-23 lead with 35 seconds remaining. Following the ensuing kickoff, Warner completes a 20-yard pass to Larry Fitzgerald and then a 13-yard pass to running back J.J. Arrington.
With Kurt Warner under center, they think they got a chance.
15 seconds left, no timeouts. But that's where the magic ends. As Warner prepares to attempt a Hail Mary, a linebacker by the name of Lamar Woodley, I'm sure you remember him,
Michigan man,
gets in for a strip sack, and defensive end Brett Kiesel and that beautiful beard of his recover the fumble, which officially secured the Steelers' 6th Super Bowl victory.
Poetry in motion, some call it.
But now, here's the uncomfortable truth of this, right? So let's look into an alternate universe, Herb, right?
Oh.
If Arizona holds on, wins this game, becomes Super Bowl champions, they're not just champions, right? You might consider them the greatest underdog champions in league history.
I mean, you have an old Kurt Warner back there, man. He wasn't supposed to be there.
This was a team that had not, again, reiterate, had not had a winning record in over a decade since they last made the playoffs. There was no expectations here. But they win this game. Kurt Warner likely retires after that season as a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, adding just another chapter to what turned out to be one of the most improbable careers in sports history. Larry Fitzgerald playoff run becomes legendary folklore, capped with a ring that forever silences the no championship knock. And then the Cardinals franchise identity changes overnight. That single win likely alters how we talk about it. They became proof that even the most forgotten franchises can finish a story.
I mean, you just think about the butterfly effect of it. Is Kyler Murray number 1 overall to Arizona in the year's future if Arizona wins that Super Bowl? There's no way to know.
But then on the flip side of this, the Steelers' legacy takes a hit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't become the first franchise to win 6 Super Bowls. That moment gets delayed, maybe never even happens, in all honesty. Not only that, Ben Roethlisberger's legacy changes dramatically. Without that drive, without that throw, he risks being remembered as a quarterback who won early, a la Aaron Rodgers, but never truly delivered the biggest moments himself. And then Santonio Holmes, he doesn't win Super Bowl MVP. Instead, he's just that guy that we bring up, right? Hey, you remember Santonio Holmes? He was pretty good, but he was always the guy who almost made the catch.
And talk about Mike Tomlin and the projection of his. I mean, we're talking about a guy with over a 20-year career with one franchise, one of the storied coaches of the NFL in our time. Does he get to stick around as long without this Super Bowl win?
I was just going to ask that question. Because there's no way he does.
I don't know if he makes it to the 2026 season or 2025-26 season like he did if he doesn't have this in his back pocket.
Shoot, I don't even know if he makes it to when the Steelers kind of come back and they have Le'Veon and Antonio Brown there. I don't even know if he makes it till then.
You don't know. Because 500 doesn't keep you around unless you got some rings on that hand.
So, 6 inches changed franchises, changed legacies, and why Santonio Holmes' catch deserves more than a replay.
That's a forgotten moment.
And that is why we tell the stories.
Absolutely.